Welcome to another Food Hero featured food video. Everett, are you thinking about fall? Yay! It's a great season for harvesting. Our lesson today is all about winter squash. You will learn a bit about the history of squash, how eating winter squash is good for you, some tips for harvesting winter squash, how to store winter squash, and a recipe that you can try at home. So, let's get started. We will begin learning squash history by meeting the squash bee. Squash bees are unique as they only gather nectar and pollen from squash plants. This medium-sized and extremely fuzzy bee has migrated as indigenous people expanded squash cultivation. Indigenous people brought squash growing to what is now South America more than 10,000 years ago. As indigenous people spread squash cultivation across what is now Central and North America, the squash bees followed. Native Americans didn't originally grow squash in the Pacific Northwest. The bees were first spotted in Oregon by kids in summer camp near Ashland. A squash bee specimen was collected in 2017 and confirmed in 2018. Welcome to Oregon, squash bee. Squashes are first foods or pre-contact food. Pre-contact means before contact with the non-native colonies. As a traditional food, squash was used in many ways by some Native Americans. We appreciate squash as a first food. Let's learn more about how eating squash keeps us healthy. Winter squash is an amazing food. When you eat it, you get vitamins A and C, fiber, potassium, and magnesium, plus many more nutrients. The colors of plants have names. With winter squash, we call the orange and yellow colors carotenoids. Carotenoids turn into vitamin A in your body. Vitamin A keeps your eyes and skin healthy. Let's learn more about winter squash. There are so many beautiful winter squashes. Here are kabocha, spaghetti, butternut, delicata, acorn, Hubbard, and pumpkin. Hey, let's go check out a fall harvest. Winter squash is harvested in the fall. We call it winter squash because it is a good vegetable to store for winter. We know it is ready to store when the skin is cured. Are you wondering what it means if the skin is cured, Everett? The squash is cured when the rind, which is another name for the skin of the squash, is hard enough to resist a fingernail scratch. After you've harvested it, it's important to wipe down the squash, keeping it clean for storing. In Western Oregon, the garage is usually a good place to store winter squash. That's because the temperature is cool, usually between 50 and 55 degrees. Keep the squashes in a cupboard, loosely packed so air can circulate around them. What a busy day! We saw so many beautiful squashes. Are you wondering which one you'd like to eat, Everett? Butternut, of course! We can make butternut squash and chili pan fry. This is a fast and delicious way to eat squash. Before we get started, remember kitchen safety. Ask an adult for help and wash our hands for 20 seconds with soap and water. We love this recipe. It's a delicious side dish. For this recipe, you will need butternut squash, oil, onion, salt, chili powder, diced green chilies, and cheese. Yummy! And it cooks so quickly. Awesome work today, Food Heroes. You've earned your winter squash stamp. Go to foodhero.org to find squash recipes. You can also find color sheets and learn more about winter squash. You can learn more about bees and find the cultural toolkit to learn more about the foods from different cultures. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.